Hi guys, my name is Chris and you're watching Wrestling Today, so let's start with the coverage of WWE Saturday night's main event on January 25th. This is the second of the current wave of shows, and WWE has loaded the card up with some big matches ahead of next week's Royal Rumble. Rhea Ripley vs. Jax Women's World Title. The first match on the card saw Ripley take on Jax in a Women's World Championship match. The challenger delivered a headbutt during the official introductions to get an early advantage, but Ripley fired back with a dropkick as soon as the bell rang. Jax hit a huge Samoan drop from the middle rope for a 2 count right before the show cut to a break. They were not wasting any time pulling out the big moves in an effort to win. With two powerhouses like this, it was no surprise that this was a hard-hitting and physical affair. Both competitors even used some moves we don't see from them very often. Jax came close a handful of times, but the Eradicator kept finding ways to kick out at 2. Ripley even took some bigger risks than usual trying to take down the irresistible force. In the end, the champion retained with a riptide to close a fun encounter. Both women came away from this looking great. Result: Ripley defeated Jax. The second match, Braun Breaker vs. Sheamus Intercontinental Championship. The IC title was on the line when Breaker defended the belt against Sheamus in the second match of the night. The Irishman was looking to win the only title that has eluded him in his WWE career, while the son of Rick Steiner was hoping to prove it was still his time in the spotlight. The champ had the upper hand at first, but being thrown into the timekeeper's area in the most painful way possible turned the tide in Sheamus's favor. We returned from a break to see Sheamus back on defense and taking a gutbuster. The Celtic Warrior nailed him with a huge knee to the face once he was back to his feet. Breaker lined up for a spear but ran into a brogue kick. He had to put his foot on the rope to break the count because he was unable to kick out. Once he regained his footing, Breaker nailed the spear for the pin and the win. This bout was just as good as their previous encounters. Sheamus is a reliable veteran and Breaker is a star in the rise. They worked together to make this feel slightly unpredictable, which is always a good thing. Result: Breaker defeated Sheamus. Then we have the contract signing in the ring. A ladder stands behind Shawn Michaels, who is ready to oversee the contract signing. Shawn Michaels takes the mic, joking that he's been sweating through his suit from all the dancing because he's thrilled to be back in San Antonio. He reminds everyone that he was given one job: to walk out of the ring with the signatures of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. He adds that since Nick Aldis couldn't get it done, they sent in the closer to finish the job. Shawn Michaels oversaw the contract signing between Owens and Rhodes for the title match at the Royal Rumble next weekend. Rhodes signed, but KO wanted to get something off his chest first. He took offense to Rhodes, saying he always took the easy way out. Both men hung their belts on the holder that will hang above the ring during their ladder match at the Rumble. Owens attacked Rhodes and tried to hit Michaels with a piledriver, but Rhodes hit him with a super kick and then HBK hit sweet chin music to send him out of the ring. The third match was Fatu vs. Strowman, which WWE hyped with a special video package showing their respective stats. Strowman took control early and sent Fatu out of the ring, but the Samoan werewolf did the same to him a moment later, followed by a suicide dive. As expected, this was a classic case of big meaty men slapping meat. Strowman and Fatu are known for being hard-hitting powerhouses, and they delivered on those reputations with a match that took both men all around the ring. Fatu snapped and ended up throwing the ref out of the ring so he could continue hitting running hip strikes on Strowman. The ref called the match off, so we will likely get a rematch down the line. The way this ended was obviously nobody's ideal outcome, but the match leading up to that point was solid. Their next encounter will likely see them up the ante even further with their destruction. Strowman was a bloody mess after Fatu hit several moonsaults as officials tried their best to break up the fight. Result: Strowman won by DQ. The final match was Gunther vs. Jey World Heavyweight Championship. The main event of Saturday night's main event saw Gunther defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Jey. Jey tried to test himself by going chop for chop with the ring general, and it almost looked like he might win until Gunther whipped him into the corner as hard as possible. The world champion began to assert his dominance as the show cut to a break. Jey began making a comeback when we returned, but he was still showing signs of the beating he had taken. He did an excellent job selling the brutality of Gunther's offense. The crowd was on its feet when it looked like Jey might clinch the victory, but 2 spears and a superfly splash couldn't put the champion away. Gunther turned a third spear into a pair of powerbomb to get the win and retain the title. This was an entertaining match, and even with a predictable ending, they had the crowd thinking we might see an upset at points. Both men delivered in this one. Result: Gunther defeated Jey. The second of the new episodes of Saturday night's main event didn't feel like quite as big of a deal heading into the show due to being overshadowed by the Royal Rumble, but it ended up being a great show from top to bottom. Thanks guys for watching and please subscribe.